Hello there. So, for years, I assumed there was a finish line. I assumed that there would be this point in my career, in my work, where Hilda would finally shut up. Like that voice in my head, I call her Hilda, that inner critic voice that lives in the back of your head. I thought that I would be able to outgrow her at some point, that there would be some point where I was successful enough that I would just stop caring about her. I would stop caring about what other people think. I would not about shortcomings. I would feel like I don't know, like I had earned enough, I had proven myself enough that I could just coast, right? Like suddenly she would just go away. And that once I had achieved some of my ambitions, I knew I would want more things, but I figured Hilda would get quieter. And that is not what happened at all. In fact, that's what I want to talk to you about today in the Moxie, which is all about that new level, new devil. It's very, very frustrating. So, here's the situation. When I get more successful, literally after I wrote the book on Hilda, after the coaching practice really kind of became a six-figure practice, the thing that we all want when we get started, right? When I got to those places, as soon as I got that successful, Hilda got a little bit of a promotion in her mind, right? She got more creative. She got more conniving. She got a little bit harder to catch, a little bit harder to know. Because what she used to do in my head, the noise she used to fill my head with, didn't work anymore. And I had a whole new set of fears that kind of came and replaced all of those things. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about that new level, new devil. And what do you do when you've been like working really hard on like hushing that negative Nancy voice in the back of your head who's telling you how much you suck, and you feel like you're making some progress, but then you hit a new level and there's this new devil, and what do you do with all of that? So, first of all, I used to think, again, that I was just struggling and all this noise was because I hadn't made it yet. By the way, let me know if you've made it. I have no idea where where that is. It's not like I don't think I'll ever arrive at that. And that's because I have that impatient ambition. And I guess you do too, if you're listening to me, that impatient ambition, the kind that drives you absolutely bananas because you want things, you've done some cool things, but you would like to do way more yesterday, if not sooner. It's not happening fast enough. You wish you could get further faster, but for some reason, everything just feels like it takes 10 times as long as you want. Well, Hilda uses that impatient ambition against you, and she knows that you want more things and that it's never enough, so she just keeps moving the line. So let's talk about some of the fears that I've experienced, and I'm curious if anybody else has. Please let me know in the chat or in the comments if you've ever experienced these same things of like the fear of the identity shift. So one of the things I talk about this in my book actually, which is this fear that I'm going to become one of those jerks. I'm going to become one of those people that if I'm successful, I'm going to become unrecognizable. I'm going to be one of those people that used to be grounded, used to be cool, people used to love, used to feel like a peer, and now I've become one of those people that lives on a mountain. Now, I really don't think I could ever be one of those people, like if I'm being honest with myself. But I do have this deep-seated fear that someday Jenny's going to become one of those douchebags, and everybody in my peer group is going to hate me, and I'll end up alone at the top. As I say that out loud, I feel embarrassed that I'm saying that, but I think it's a real fear that has had me many, many times in my career kind of turn down my volume, not ask for opportunities, not brag about the things that I'm doing really well because I don't ever want to be seen or perceived as one of those people. And I think that fear is kind of legit because I know what my peers say about those people, right? The people that are incredibly successful, the conversations about these people are not kind. And we're often looking at like, oh, well, they're really successful. So let's figure a way to pick them apart and give them some whatever. Like we become the outspoken Hildas of these people. Now, of course, they don't hear from us, but I am terrified that one day some of the nasty things people have said about insert whatever guru you're thinking of right this moment is going to be something somebody says about me someday. And I have many, many, many times over the course of my career let that hold me back. Another fear that comes up that I don't think is really talked about enough is this idea that your success is fragile. Like this quiet, kind of persistent suspicion that any moment now you're gonna drop the other shoe's gonna drop, right? That your success isn't really yours, that it just really maybe you had just good timing on that launch, or you knew the right person, or you happened to show up at the right networking event or conference, and like this whole idea that whatever positive things are happening to you are just serendipity. They're not really something you did, and they're not replicable, and at any moment now that other shoe's going to drop, and all of your wins are going to go away, that this success is a fluke, that this is a good year but you'll never have this again, that you've peaked, right? That fear is one that I didn't see coming, right? Again, I was so used to the typical Hilda fears of like, you suck and you're never going to make it, nobody's going to ever see it. But then, you get enough success that people are seeing you, and people start recognizing your name, and you're starting to notice some momentum, and suddenly it feels very fragile. Like, this is so temporary. I should like just be really careful. And that fragility fear starts to make everything a little bit too treadmill fear, because I couldn't figure out a better way to put it. But the treadmill fear is more like this idea that your success is only as good, like today's success is only as good as the event that you host has to have more attendees. Every new offer bigger every single time you do something is an instant failure. So that means you never actually appreciate and enjoy the success that you're feeling for more than a moment, because you just keep moving that line. You feel like that finish line, it doesn't exist. It's never good enough. And that becomes just so exhausting, right? You feel like that treadmill that you're on is like, well, now I want this. And again, that's that impatient ambition, instead of driving you forward, driving you batty, because it's saying, well, you're only as good as you are today. And if you dip, if like this launch doesn't do as well as the last launch, or this the past, you would have thought this was absolutely huge, right? So Hilda gets more creative the more successful we are. And she creates all of these weird comparisons to other people, comparisons to ourselves and our past selves. And she sets these are standards we haven't actually set for ourselves intentionally. They just start happening. We have all of this fear that, now that she's smarter, she's getting more targeted, more fragile, and more personal, more personal, big time, that we're suddenly like, we just suddenly suck. And that's what Hilda does. See, here's Hilda's whole reason for being. If you would just listen to Hilda, you would just stay safe and stuck and stifled and small. And as soon as you start breaking out of that place a little bit, like I'm talking, like things are moving and grooving. I'm starting to do my thing. And oh my gosh, I'm really pleased with this last launch, or look at this summit I just put on, or whatever it is. Immediately Hilda's like, oh crap, it didn't work. This other stuff didn't work. I need new material, new ways to put her down. That new level, new devil. And so recognizing that this is a thing has made me feel dramatically better. So if you listen to nothing else I say in this Monday Morning Moxie, it's this. The fact that this is happening is absolutely normal. It's almost on schedule. It's on cue. Like Hilda's showing up exactly as she's supposed to. And the reason for that is because this matters to you. This matters to you. Hilda doesn't bother if it doesn't matter. Hilda giving you all of this. And what she's trying to do is distract you from chasing the next big thing, from going after the next ring. And so if she can do that, she's going to win. So try really hard to kind of raise your awareness to how often Hilda is saying, you should have figured this out by now. Like, why isn't this better? And that'll help you put Hilda in her place. So what do you do with this information? So first of all, one is make sure that you are drawing the line and not Hilda. What do I mean by that? So again, this new level, new devil stuff is Hilda moving the line, saying, okay, here's the bar now. Here's the bar of achievement I want you to hit. Here's the bar of success I want you to hit. It has to be bigger and better than last time. It has to be just so. You have to make sure you don't lose yourself and become one of those people who actually brags about your success. How horrible would that be? She keeps moving that finish line. Instead of letting her draw the line, you draw the lines. You decide what actually is successful for you right now. Now, for me, I'm recording this in the summer of 2026. Right now is really proven tough. Like the conversation in the online business space is that right now business is kind of tougher than it has been before. So if I compare this summer with, say, the summer of 2020, when we were all in the pandemic lockdown, and it was incredibly easy to garner a lot of attention because what else were we doing? Everybody was tired of watching Netflix. Clubhouse was popping off. I was killing it on Clubhouse. And I had all of this wonderful new traffic coming in from that source. And right now, it's a little bit different. If I'm comparing my success level just based on numbers that Hilda's drawing the line of and not putting it in the broader context of how different it is in 2020 versus 2026, then I'm not drawing the line. I'm letting her do it. So that's one thing to look. So just bigger, the only definition of better is oh, I totally froze there for a second. Hopefully I'm back. If you don't match last year's numbers, is that okay? If you're not as on point as last time, is that okay? If this launch makes $2,000 less than the last launch, does all of the money that you just earned suddenly become meaningless? No, of course not. So notice when Hilda is trying to turn these things into a story that are not actually true. And then finally, figure out how are you going to appreciate and own and just give yourself credit and notice how much proof you're creating, how much evidence you're creating of how much confidence you've earned from doing these things, from following through. I'm pushing through in a particularly difficult summer. So that's what I got for you today. If your Hilda is being excruciatingly loud and you feel like I thought I would be over this crap by now as I get more successful. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that Hilda's trying to come up with new ways to put you in your place. And good news, it's not working. So if you want more tips and you want help on figuring out how to quiet that noise enough, or at least shorten the amount of time that we're letting Hilda run things in your mind and dictate your next actions, that is what we're here for. So let us know how we can help. Until next time, keep making things happen no matter what. Bye now.